Hello, I'm Elliott Connie, and welcome back to this edition of Real Talk with Elliott, where I make videos to help you live happier, better lives, and I address the burning questions that you send in to me. And today's question is really important, and so important and so controversial that I thought about not addressing it because it's big and it's massive and it's controversial, but it's important and I could not do it. It comes from Jim Thomas. And Jim Thomas asks, how do we get society to take on global warming with grit, passion, and action? And the reason why I think this is such a hugely important question is because global warming affects all of us. It affects our society, our community, our world, our health, our citizenship. It affects you whether you are affluent or poor. It affects you regardless of what nation or city you live in. It affects all of us. A friend of mine is a scientist. And one day I was talking to this friend and I asked him, what scares you? And he said, the thing that scares me most is there will be a day where Earth is uninhabitable by humans. That day may be soon or far, but there will be a day where the Earth as we know it is not inhabitable by humans. And we have to do something to prolong that day. And I think about that sometimes as I recognize the habits that we have as citizens on this planet. And I don't understand how this became a political issue because, as I just said, it affects everybody. We have to think about how we are leaving a footprint on this planet. We have to think about what we're doing with the things we consume. We have to think about the way we're treating this earth because our time here is not guaranteed and we're not entitled to it. So Jim asked a question that's about a really big topic. Jim, this question is happening right now where the world is in a mega heat wave. Over the past few years, we've had heat waves. A friend of mine told me that they wanted to travel to Australia. They wanted to see the Great Barrier Reefs, the coral reefs. And I was saying, you're gonna have to go really soon because these reefs are graying. There's something called the graying effect, where these beautiful, vibrant, tropically colored reefs are now all turning like this whitish gray. The world is sick. The world is hurting, and somehow we've turned it into a political issue. So how do we get people to passionately respond to this with grit and take action in the way Jim is asking? And I'll be honest, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't know. But I think about how do we get people to passionately take action about other things? How do we get people to passionately root for their favorite sports team? And the way that we do it is we let people know that they're on the same team. Because once we recognize we're all on the same team, we're all the same, then we pull for that team that we're on, and we can do so with passion and grit. You see it all the time in the world of sports where people are very huge New York Yankee fans or Boston Red Sox fans or Chicago Bears fans or Dallas Cowboy fans. When we get around each other and we know that we have the same thinking, we're on the same team, we work hard and pull to make sure that team is successful. And one of the things that I wish we would recognize is we're all on the same team of Earthlings. And maybe if we realize that, we would pull for that team and we would do the things to help that team win. We would take action and we would be more responsible with this planet. We would be more reasonable with this planet. We would be more careful and we would be more caring with this planet. I think there's a lot of divisiveness in the world, in part because there's a lot of labels. Like that person's an American and that person is from Britain and that person is Australian and that person is from New Zealand and that person is Canadian and that person's black and that person's white, but that person's European, that person's Asian. There are too many teams for us to care about anything because we're competing so much for the outcomes of our own team. And I think we need to use the phrase Earthlings more. Like, how do you get people to be passionate and respond with grit and take action? You know, a really, really great example of this is in the movie Independence Day, starring Will Smith and Jeffrey Goldblum and a few others. And in this movie, there was a scene where aliens were coming down and were going to attack Earth. And the response was, we need to respond to these aliens as Earthlings. And they used the phrase mankind, you know, it's taking on a new meaning today. And I think that's how we do it. We have to like let each other know that we're on the same team, and the team that we're on is one of Earthlings. Because I'll tell you what, if my friend the scientist is correct, and one day Earth is not habitable, that's going to affect all Earthlings. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how big your house is, what kind of degree you have or don't have. Like, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is you will be struggling as an Earthling. And the truth is, we are on the same team as Earthlings. Doesn't matter whether you're male, female, black, white, what country or city you're from, what amount of affluence you have or don't have. That doesn't matter. Like, we're all on the same team as Earthlings, and we need to recognize that so we can start rooting for Earth to succeed and then doing the things that help Earth succeed. And that might be a silly example, but I know people that so much love their sports team. They have these lucky rituals to help their sports team win. Like, every time I watch my favorite team, I wear my favorite t-shirt, or I sit in this particular spot. Like, you're willing to do things to help your team win once you recognize that that's your team. And I think we need to recognize that we're all Earthlings, and once we do, we'd be willing to do things to help people win. I think because of the differences, politics has gotten in the way, and differences have gotten in the way, and greed has gotten in the way. But we're on the same team, and I think the sooner we realize that, the more likely we are to respond with passion, grit, and action. So, Jim, that's my answer. And I hope, this inspires someone to start thinking about being an Earthling as opposed to being a particular kind of person. And I think that would make this world a much better place. So there's my answer. I hope it helps, Jim. I hope it makes a difference. And if you have a burning question that you want me to answer, I would love to answer it. So send me your question either in the comments of this video. You can send me an email. You can even text me at 972-426-2640. I cannot wait to get your questions, and I cannot wait to make a video for you.